listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM. And also online at mykcr.org.
We are Lions. We bring hope where it's needed. Support causes that matter. Change lives. Change communities. Change the world. Visit lionsclubs.org to learn more.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here. And it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from, all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
To battle is to fight, to struggle, to overcome, and ultimately for the Marine Corps, it means to win. There is no alternative. It's not just a statement of intent. It's a promise to our nation. A promise kept for more than 2 centuries. A promise of the Marines.
Introducing the YMCA. Sure, you know the Y for a swim or a game of hoops, but we're more than that. We're a cause. When you take a jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Practice yoga as a team practices her leadership skills. We give people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds a chance to learn, grow, and thrive. So while you might think of the Y as the place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. That's the why. We're so much more. Visit ymca.net/more.
Hi, my name is Jackie Levezzo. I'm from Lake Katrine, and I support the Kingston Community Radio because it is an invaluable resource to the community and its residents.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Thank you, Lawrence Maxwell. Good morning, listeners and viewers. You are tuned in to the Wednesday morning edition of Kingston Community Radio's Talk Radio Show. 331-9255. We would love to hear from you. We are broadcasting live from our studios here at 16 Lucas Avenue in Kingston. And with me in the studio is Saugerties Village Mayor William Murphy. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. And we are expecting Fred Costello.
He's on Fred time, so
shortly. Yes.
10 minutes.
Yes. So if he gets here at 7:14, he'll be a minute early.
Absolutely.
So,
what's new?
That's what I was going to ask you.
Nothing. I was lucky enough to spend a nice weekend in Myrtle Beach and come back to the cold, frigid temperatures.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Those are a little rude awakening, huh?
Oh, I got out of there, got home Sunday night, and I mean, literally had to drive through snow coming back from Hartford Airport. I'm like, but I have to say something. This is a good story, though. Since we have a little minute. Our flight to Myrtle Beach on Thursday night got delayed by 3 hours. Probably the first time I've been on a flight that's been delayed that long. So by the time we boarded the plane, three quarters of the passengers on the plane were intoxicated from sitting at the bar. I mean, obviously 20 years ago, I would have been one of them too. But it was the most obnoxious plane ride I've ever been on in my life. And listen, I'm a sailor type person. You know, I take a lot and can listen, have a sailor mouth. I got off that plane and I felt violated. I mean, there was one guy on the plane who didn't put his mask on, and he was literally vaping on the plane. Vaping on the plane. There were other guys on there sitting next to a grandmother, and the whole way down they talked about the strip joints in Myrtle Beach and, what they're going to do when they get there. I had 3 dance moms behind me talking about how much who were drunk, talking about how much they hate their kids. I mean, it was actually entertaining, and I give the staff of Spirit Airlines all the credit in the world. They handled it so well. And then, no controversies. They kind of probably played into them a little bit just to appease them because it was only an hour and a half flight. But I mean, they were throwing dollar bills at the stewardesses like they're strippers. Again, 20 years ago, I would have loved that plane ride. But it was just fun. I mean, and it's just the 3-hour delay. I mean, everybody gets had nothing else to do in the airport. I chose to take a nap, but they chose to go to the bar, which again, years ago, that would have been me too. No, I don't think I would have been that obnoxious. But it was a great trip visiting my daughter.
So at least you didn't have to get on the plane, and then they made you sit on the plane.
Well, no, the delay was 2.5 hours. Then we got on the plane and we sat for another 40 minutes on the plane. So it was kind of a combination of both. The flight was supposed to be 6. We boarded at 8:30 and we took off at 9:10. So, but
years ago, our conference was in Phoenix, and after the conference, it's going to Florida. I sat almost 6 hours on the tarmac in Dallas. Almost 6 hours. And they pushed away from the gate, and then we just sat out on the tarmac. That 6 hours was like 6 days.
I bet.
And then get into Florida, and they're having all sorts of severe weather. And the reason for in Dallas was ice and high winds. So I'm actually surprised they never ended up canceling the flight.
Right.
So I get into Florida, and Johnny and Sarah Smith were down at the condo, and he was going to pick me up. I was due in, I think, somewhere around mid-afternoon. I forget. And then I kept, I got a hold of him. He was looking at the delay. And then finally, I said to him, look, there's no need for you to come over to the airport. There's Super Shuttle. I'll take Super Shuttle over. Well, on the way over, the guy's got his portable radio on and listening to all the drivers about tornadoes touching down. And there was one, literally, the condo's in Indian Shores, and the next town up is Indian Rocks, and there was a tornado touchdown in Indian Rocks. And then we're stopped at a stoplight and looking down a road, and the sign that had the different interstates and directional signing, that thing was spinning around like it was nothing. It was just unbelievable. And then got into with John, and Sarah had a big martini waiting for me because I kept in touch with him as I was coming over. And what a driving rainstorm. There's a balcony off the thing and sliding glass doors. You would think that sliding glass door was facing the sky. That's how bad the rain was sideways. And that was probably the only time that I've been delayed in all the many flights that I've taken, but to sit on that plane for almost 6 hours.
Ours was delayed from weather too, because the flight coming up that was picking, that was the Spirit flight that was coming back from Myrtle, that was the one that's going to take us back down, got rerouted because of storms. And what normally is an hour and a half flight took them 4 hours to go from Myrtle to Hartford. But then the pilot made up for us. He got us there in an hour and 20 minutes going down, which is nice.
Nina's, Lawrence was telling me, Nina Pasterpak, she was in down south, and her flight got delayed because of high winds, not down there, but at JFK. So she landed finally like 1 o'clock in the morning. So she got into JFK at 1. She's not back in Kingston till 3 o'clock or so. But boy, that's.
I tell you what, I recommend flying out of Hartford. What a great airport as far as accessibility.
Oh, you flew out of Hartford. Oh, yeah, that's right. You said coming back you had snow in Hartford.
Yeah. We normally fly out of Newark, 'cause this time of year only Newark and Hartford offer direct flights to Myrtle, but we tried Hartford the last 2 times, and I mean, yeah, it's about 15, 20-minute longer ride than Newark, but you're not dealing with the traffic.
Yeah.
Parking, $7 a day.
Can't beat that.
Where Newark's $40 a day.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what is it, 37? It was 40 bucks. Good morning, Fred Costello, Supervisor, Town of Saugerties.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing?
We are doing.
You're not wearing shorts, Fred. What's the matter?
I can't believe this weather. It's 19 degrees.
That's what yeah.
I refused to put my winter coat on today. I said, you know what? I'm not putting it on today. I'm thinking.
And I had 19 degrees a little before 6 o'clock, and usually right around sunrise, the temperature drops, especially on a clear day. So I didn't look when I got in here on the car what it was.
I turned the heat off in my house last week before I left from Myrtle, and I came back and my house was freezing.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, it wasn't dangerously freezing, like the pipes were going to freeze, but it was
it was not comfortable.
My poor cats I got home, my cats had scarves and winter coats on. They're like, what the hell did you do to us? You left us in a cold house. Though I did have Tom Spears as the cat sitter, my official cat sitter, and Tom's a great cat sitter. Takes care of my cats when I'm gone.
Perfect.
Sends me pictures each day, make sure they're
all happy.
Yeah, Nancy used to be my cat sitter, and since Nancy passed, I asked Tom if he wanted to take over the cat sitting, and as a tribute to Nancy. So he did. Was his 3rd time cat sitting for me, and
really,
yeah, the cats know him now, so I'll come there and hang out with him. He's such a good guy, and it's nice to have someone you can trust in your house when you're gone. So yeah, the cats are like, I come home now, and Tom didn't want to mess with the heat probably. So I go home, the cats are like, what the hell is this? Put the heat on, Dad.
It's cold.
You got fur, come on.
Yeah.
So, but Myrtle was nice seeing Jack. Weather was beautiful. It was 70 degrees both days. I mean, it wasn't, you couldn't go in the water, but I mean, we walked the beach, we did the boardwalk, Tracy and I played golf the one day. It was just perfect temperature, 70 degrees, breezy.
Perfect.
It's just so nice down there. I want to move down there.
That's like the golf capital.
It is. It's got the most golf courses per capita of any city in the world, actually.
Sure, yeah.
And every course, like we were trying to get tee times on Wednesday before we left. I couldn't get a morning tee time I tried 15 courses, couldn't get a morning tee time.
Wow.
And the earliest tee time I could get on the courses I wanted to play, which I never, ones that were within range of our condo and that, the earliest tee time I get was 2:30. So we didn't finish up till 7. So it was almost getting dark by the time we finished our round. We played Myrtle National. This time we played the West Course, but it was funny. We rented clubs this time because we're only going down for a few days, so I'm not going to bring my clubs down. And this Myrtle National, great course. People are wonderful there and very reasonable for a PGA course. $60 for a round with a cart. And I got rental clubs. Brand new pings. I mean, beautiful setup. And they give you 2 sleeves of balls, tailor-made balls. And it's only $40 for the clubs and the balls, which is great. So I go, wow, 2 sets of sleeves of balls. He's like, yeah. He goes, we figure we're going to get them all back by the end of the day anyways. I'm like, hey, you'll probably get these and some more from me. So I ended up buying, I bought another 2 sleeves or whatever. And I actually from the first round of the year, I played a decent round. I lost 1 ball on the 17th hole. So when I got done, I went to the clubhouse. I said, hey, freaking joke's on you, buddy. I still got 5 of the balls he gave me. He was laughing. He goes, that doesn't happen to it. He goes, what, were you hitting it 2 feet every time? I'm like, no, I was actually playing well. But, yeah, it was just nice to get out and swing. But, man, next day, first time you use your golf muscles for the year, my back the next morning was hurting. But
so when I went down to Florida the first week, I hit. I didn't go onto the golf course, and my surgeon, Dr. Alfred, said, just take it slow. And that first week down there, that Monday, I hit 35 golf balls, and then Thursday I hit 35 more, and everything it felt fine. Next week is our big party week there. The 3 families from Syracuse, I can only stay a week, is there, and we have our cornhole tournament. Horse racing on the tabletop and kickball. And I just went once, and I upped it to 70, which is a medium-sized bucket. Then the following week, I went twice, and I did the same thing Monday, Thursday, 70 each time. Then the following week, I got a large, or jumbo as they call it, 110. And it was sore. The first week it wasn't, the second week it wasn't, and then...
That's That's my biggest thing, too. When I go to the driving range, if I go past a small bucket, I get exhausted. Like, it's just, when you're just hitting consecutive shots, like when you're playing on a round, you're walking in between
you
shots.
got to take a little bit of a breather.
Yeah,
It's like when you're hitting 110 golf balls, stop and think. On a golf course, you get 80 shots, but how many are, you're putting. You're not swinging a club.
No, it takes a lot, definitely. But now I feel like I come back and be ready to play. And I know a couple of courses are open locally, but it's way too cold to play.
Oh, yeah.
Right now it is, for
It's
sure.
not enjoyable.
No.
It's not fun to be outside.
It's not,
I was thinking when you were talking about you couldn't get in that morning tea time. Even in Myrtle, it could be cold in the morning. So getting mid-morning or late afternoon.
But they were packed. Literally, when we got on, I remember we got on National, we were in the clubhouse that day. Now, National has 3 courses, 3 18-hole courses. And somebody called for a tea time on Saturday while I was in the pro shop. He goes, no, we're fully booked on Saturday, all 3 courses. And they paired us up. Like, we put up with 2 young guys. Like I say, you go down to Myrtle Beach, nobody's from there. Every time I go there, I meet people from Sorges, Kingston, Ulster County. Now we got teed up with 2 young men, great guys. They were graduates of Menacing Valley High School. And come to find out, I think, my daughter Jacqueline played against the one guy's sister in basketball. It's like, it's just way too small of a world when you go down there,
Yeah.
But, I always get nervous when you get paired up with somebody because you want, God forbid you get paired up with somebody that's really good and you hold them back. These guys hit their first tee shots. I'm like, okay, I'm with good guys now. And they were decent. They were about equal to me. So it was a perfect,
fun day.
Yeah, Mike and I, my brother-in-law, had a great time and, had some nice dinners out with the wives. And it's good. I highly recommend for people out there who have kids going to college to have one of your kids go to college in the South because it's this is my 3rd trip down there this year. It's a great getaway.
Yeah, it is a great getaway.
And fly to Myrtle's a $129 round trip ticket. Rented a car for $250 for 4 days. Our condo.
It's not bad.
Our condo is $120 a night.
That's not bad either.
A 2-bedroom condo. Right on the canal and right 10 minutes from the airport. But I guess prices go up in April down there. That's when
with Easter and spring break.
So if you go, like we went in December, same thing. It's very cheap. Not to mention just the prices of things down there are cheaper. Compared to New York State. Food, everything. It's just so much more reasonable down there. Even my bad habit chewing tobacco is half price down there. It's $8 a tin here. It's $4 there.
Cigarettes are cheap down there too, I believe.
Yeah, well, they don't have that tobacco tax down there. And
there's still the tobacco industry still has deep roots there.
Yeah,
no pun, because it's a plant, but they still do, and they haven't.
And Myrtle's building again. Oh my God! Every time I go down there, it's like new developments.
I don't know where you can go where they're not building.
Yeah.
And that reminds me, I've been meaning to ask you, and you've probably told me this twice, and I forgot again. Across from the 2 quick checks. Yes. What is going in there?
People are asking me that too. What is it? Yeah.
Up here.
Right here.
Above the traffic circle. That's going to be a small retail development and possibly another hotel.
I cannot believe, first of all, it's gone a long time that they've been working on the thing.
It's the same developer that did the project in Saugerties. Our Holiday Inn project.
Oh.
Same developer.
Okay.
And they have... I think the first part is going to be a small retail building that's going to have a Dunkin' Donuts and maybe a burger restaurant. And then there's supposed to be a hotel there as well, a Holiday Inn.
Okay, so you answered that question for me. Now the next one, and I gather this is Mullen. So across from his large housing development that's going in, what used to be...
Rich Farms. Another housing development.
What's that?
Another housing development.
And that's Mullins?
As well, yeah. He bought that property.
Yeah, it's actually not John's project anymore, though.
No?
No, there was...
he bought the property initially.
He did. He bought the property. He's doing the preparatory site work for the new project, but there's
the excavating.
There's a company coming down, I forgot from where, but they're doing 162 units of apartments on that site.
Wow.
It's amazing because I just came past there.
Yeah.
And you can... From 9W, you could see the back of the...
Well, I never realized that piece of property, when I get back from Florida, when I left from Florida, nothing from you couldn't say anything from 9W.
No.
But I didn't realize that property went back and then L'd all the way out to the 9W.
And then I was going to say, that's because because somebody asked me what was going in 9W, and I didn't put two and two together. That property extends to Rich Farms there. Yeah. So that answers my next question.
It didn't always do that, though.
Okay.
They combined two parcels to make that.
Oh, so he bought two parcels.
Two parcels, yeah.
Well, smart.
Yeah.
Now you got ingress and egress from Glasgow Turnpike and the 9W.
And that was very smart because the primary inlet and outlet is going to be 9W.
9W, sure.
It's not going to cause congestion and traffic on
The residential
Glasgow
road,
Turnpike,
right.
yeah. Because Glasgow Turnpike feels overwhelmed right now.
Yeah,
They're
I
gonna
bet they
have-
do.
Yeah, they're going to have a lot of...
Those houses there, they had a nice quiet life for a long time, But I mean, the other developments, quality houses that he put. I mean, it's John doesn't do anything that's not quality.
That's the other thing. Usually, if I got the time when I leave the radio show here, I'll make a stop, check out the two parks in Glasgow, or I'll go into Mount Marion. So it'd been the first time I went by there since before I went to Florida, and the number of houses that have gone up in just the last 4 to 6 weeks.
It's pretty incredible, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it is incredible.
You see what?
There's 18 that pulled permits recently.
Wow.
So by midsummer, and most of them will.
Hey,
will be
keep
up
them
there.
coming. Feeds the Recreation Trust Fund. Keep it coming.
And
When Claudette gave me that information, I almost fell down.
What about the job he's doing in the house off the bridge there? The little development he's putting in off the bridge in the village?
Yeah.
Oh, on the right-hand side before
Yeah.
you go up the hill?
That's him too.
That's him, too.
I mean, the house looks beautiful. The one
It
he
does
did
look
over. Then he's putting condos down on the water. That's his ultimate.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's been planned for a couple of years. He had to go through a lot of permit process with that.
When do
but-
you not have to?
Yeah, but that's why he went in on when he went partners with us on the Harvester, because he's going to have condos down there in front of the water. And I said, "Hey, John," and he's like, "Yeah, no problem. I'll help you pay for the Harvester."
He would have said yes anyway.
He would have said yes anyways, but he's
There's another person. Never wants any kind
never.
of fanfare. But what that man does, it's just unbelievable.
and he's got a great great crews, and his sidekick Ed Cooper. I mean, Ed's the silent guy in the group, but
Yeah.
Ed's his engineer, and the two of them. I mean, literally, you and I can call them anytime, and they're just amazing. And if you have a family that needs somebody that needs help, it doesn't matter what it is. John, they'll do it for anybody.
I know.
It's amazing. And again, there's a lot of other people too as well. But John, sometimes I feel bad because I call him too much, but
He might.
he doesn't. No, we're great friends, and he calls me little brother. I call him big brother.
I have got to start compiling a list of people, because I had in my mind, just after I got back from Florida, 5 Wednesdays, to see if Tom Struzzeri wanted on. It's been probably over a year.
It has been.
He's on the heels of starting a new season.
He should be on his way back if he's not back yet.
His triathlon. Yeah, I'm not sure if he is back, but I figured I'd shoot him a text. Do you think no. Well, we do have a lineup, and I don't believe I mentioned this at the onset for our viewers and listeners. We have Frank Ruggiero from Ulster County Veterans Administration, the deputy director. Mark was actually on the director at the breakfast yesterday, which dumb me did not put in my phone in my calendar. And I got wrapped up, with something Friday afternoon that I picked right up on early in the morning, Tuesday. And then it was about 8:15 or so. And Lawrence texts me, "You coming to the breakfast?" And I said, "Oh, you know what?" But we got Frank and he is coming to the studio. And then March Gallagher, who I just felt so bad shutting her off last week.
Yeah, she's always a wealth of information.
And I said, "Do you want to come back and pick up where you left off?" And right now, you can pick your time. So I believe she's coming in the studio. And then Kevin Hinchy is going to be joining us, I believe, virtually to talk about his ring tour and his upcoming season and all the prospects that he's drafted for the team.
Perfect.
So we got a nice lineup.
A really nice lineup.
Yeah. And
Hey, did you get a ring as commissioner of the park?
what's that?
Did you get a stallion ring as being park commissioner? I think you should get a ring.
No, I did not.
Ah, Kevin, if you're listening, I think Greg needs a ring.
Get a ring.
Right, Fred?
Yeah.
Maybe he's saving the best for
Oh,
last.
maybe.
Why, did you two get a ring?
No, we didn't get a
Oh,
ring.
we get a ring. You deserve the ring. You do all the work up there.
No, now, wait a minute now. If he was to give that to me, I don't know what I would do with it, because it's not me. It's my team.
True, but you are the big cheese. So I mean,
yeah.
He's the big
you
cheese.
hired well. You know, the big cheese, all right. You hired well for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
And that was so much fun. Looking back at that brings a smile on my face. That was a great season, and winning that championship really was a special minute. And I was lucky we got to be there to share it for a little while. It was fun.
So we put out on our Town of Saugerties website, Facebook page, the Ice Arena Facebook page, TV 23, Hudson Valley 1, employment ad, because they got multiple positions, that we can, part-time, seasonal. If I was to show you the resume that I got from an individual, I believe it was 2.5 pages, front, back, and half of another page.
Oh, wow.
15 years old.
Wow. Really?
And his employment application and what he's done already at 15 years of age, but the resume just blew me right out of the water.
So we're hiring him, right? Or she?
I got to get that waiver from Ulster County Self-Insurance.
Okay.
He made copies of his working papers. He made copies of his student ID. I mean, it just, I don't know if I've ever seen a resume as detailed.
Complete.
Yeah,
resume. Greg, I need a job. Okay, you're hired. That was my resume when I was 16
and then
years old.
I got two others. One, because on the county application it asks, are you over 18? If not, you have to provide your date of birth. And it's checked, he's over 18. No references. He lists a couple jobs where he worked. Then another one that's in his first year in a college. No references. Didn't list anything. The page is just completely blank. And if he hasn't worked anywheres, which, man, I find hard to believe, but in this day and age, no, I don't. Put not applicable. NA.
At least you read the resume.
You know what? We're down to 4 minutes, so
Yeah,
we got to
do
quickly
some
go through
housekeeping.
this. And you don't have to read everything; just touch upon the high points. And
I got two. You got two? Go ahead, Fred.
I have Kingston clean sweepers and potential clean sweepers. Think spring. It has been a long, cold winter, and now it's time to get ready for clean our beautiful city. The Friends of Historic Kingston and the City of Kingston will be having our annual clean sweep event. So there's time to get your brooms and rakes ready and star the date on your calendar. The 13th annual Kingston Clean Sweep will be held on Saturday, May 7th at 9 a.m. till noon. We sincerely hope you join us. So we're going to be doing a similar program at Saugerties. For anybody who's interested, we should bring a flyer in.
yes, you should.
I'll put out to add to that. The village will start their spring pickup April 18th, Monday, April 18th that week, and it'll probably go for a couple of weeks to get your brush out. So that's our annual spring pickup. But here we got April 1st ticket deadline is approaching for the Saugerties Sports Hall of Fame induction banquet. If you plan on attending the banquet on Saturday evening, April 9th at Diamond Mills, and did not purchase your tickets, please do so no later than this upcoming Friday, April 1st. You can contact Mike Hasenbag, that's MikeHasenbalg at yahoo.com, or call 914-388-2348. Tickets are $30, and you may also visit the Saugerties Sports Hall of Fame Facebook page. And this year's inductees are Pat Caffrey, Jay Dodick, Mark Herb, along with Steve Ener Martin and Jimmy James Spears, who are both going in posthumously.
And we have Friday, April 1st, the doors will open at 7. Performances will start at 8 at Diamond Mills, and it will be the United Way Fundraiser featuring local Ulster stars who have been coached by local dance instructors performing short routines and various dance styles. Come and cheer on your favorite couple. This is a United Way program that provides affordable child and dependent care, life skills and vocational training, literacy skills, parenting education, mental health services, emergency and housing assistance, and substance abuse prevention program for youth. We focus on these areas because we believe the contribution to stable family environment and employment, two of the most components leading to healthy, productive life. Your donation to the United Way of Ulster County stays in Ulster County, currently funding 34 programs at 16 different agencies throughout Ulster County. We also have a leading role in 9 community partnerships, including our free tax preparation services and our women's mentoring program, Raise Hope. So this is a locally managed non-for-profit. For more information, you can go to ulsterunitedway.org or contact us at 845-331-4199. So that's this weekend.
And the Saugerties VFW is holding their breakfast at the American Legion this upcoming Sunday. Lots of good stuff. 8 a.m. to, I believe, 11 a.m. And again, at the American Legion Post, as the VFW puts this on periodically throughout the year, takes place this Sunday, April the 4th, at the American Legion Hall, 30 John Street. Don't miss it.
We have Coach House Players, proud to present Drinking Habits by Tom Smith, directed by Barbara Melzer, April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, 8th, 9th, and 10th. This takes place at Coach House Players, 12 Augusta Street in Kingston. $20 general admission, 18 for seniors, 62 and over, $10 for youth, 18 and under. You can contact coachhouseplayers.org or 331-2476.
And just to pick up on that, the Coach House Players, they're in their 72nd season. And besides the drinking habits that are taking place that the mayor just mentioned, on Golden Pond by Ernest Thompson, July 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, and 10, followed by the variety show Radio Days, August 26th, 27th, 28th, by Barbara Jones, and then concluding on November 11th, 12th, 13th, 18th, 19th, and 20th, Jekyll and Hyde by Steve Kudin, Frank Wildorn, and Leslie Brisket. So don't miss those. Mark the dates. Coach House Players in their 72nd year. And we're at the bottom of the hour. We'll be back in a few, listeners and viewers, with Frank Ruggiero.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Grammer. Wounded Warrior Project supports injured veterans by connecting them with fellow warriors, by serving them through mental health and wellness programs, and by empowering them to live on their own terms. No one should face a battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? By shifting to a system that gives more patients access to strong primary care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
Hi, this is Jared Mans from the Spring Lake Fire Department, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
powerful community bank is one that has leaders that are involved in their community. At Rondout Savings Bank, they invest in the success of our community by working side by side with local people and local businesses. When you choose to bank Rondout, you are part of a bank that is dedicated to the future of your success and the success of your community. Rondout Savings welcomes you to open an account today and discover what it means to be part of a powerful community bank, one that knows you by name. Rondout Savings Bank, always working for you and our community, with branches in Kingston, West Hurley, and Hyde Park, also online at rondoutbank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
But she's just over.
Thank you, Lawrence Maxwell, and welcome back, viewers and listeners that have been with us this first half hour, and those just joining us, welcome. 331-9255 is our call-in number, and we would love to hear from you. Our guest this half hour from the Ulster County Veterans Administration is Frank Ruggiero. I believe your title is Deputy Director?
That is correct, Greg. Good morning.
Wow, look at that. See, I didn't botch it.
You didn't botch it, yeah.
I didn't botch anything. And with me in the studio here is also Fred Costello, Supervisor, Town of Sorgeties, and Mayor from the Village of Sorgeties, William Murphy.
William.
You sound like you're in trouble, pal.
No.
We all happen to be from Sorgeties.
William Murphy.
We all happen to be from Sorgeties, and it was great that you were able to join us. Been wanting to get either you or Mark on because of all the good stuff you're doing for the veterans. I don't think a day goes by where I don't get at least one email from Mark. So it's yours. Tell us what's going on and all the exciting stuff that's happening.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it. And good morning, listeners and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here. On behalf of County Executive Pat Ryan and my boss, Director Mark Cosapoli, good morning. So I guess I'll start out by talking about the elephant in the room, the closure of Castle Point, which has hit the news. So as this is obviously going to create some challenges for our office if the VA does in fact go ahead with their proposed closure in the coming years. Our office is mainly focused on the impact it's going to have on our veterans. So currently we transport probably anywhere from 50 to 70 veterans a week to their medical appointments, both at Castle Point and at Albany Stratton. So 70 a week, that's quite a large number. So obviously the challenge is going to be getting these veterans to their medical appointments, number one. Another challenge we'll have is ensuring they have the continuity of care if in fact they go through. Thousands of veterans in Ulster County use VA medical facilities for their care and have for quite some time. The lion's share of our veteran population happens to be Vietnam-era veterans. And we all know what Agent Orange has done to our returning veterans with Monday being Vietnam War Memorial Day.
Is that relatively
Recognition
new?
Day. Yeah, I believe it's 4 years old. President Obama signed it into legislation, I believe, so it's 4 or 5 years old.
Very cool.
So anyway, back to that. They are receiving care and have for years. So those are the challenges. It's the transportation, it's getting quality of care and continuity of care should this move happen. Yes.
Does the Albany location in Castle Point provide the same services, or do they do different things?
Oh, so they do different things. Castle Point does have some specialty clinics, but Albany is a major regional VA medical center is what they call it. So all your specialty clinics, cardiology, ENT, neurology, all of that is at Albany. Castle Point does have some of those services available. They're not quite as large. The headquarters, if you will, for Castle Point is at Montrose, which is another hour, 45 minutes south. So the answer is no, they don't provide the same services. Albany is a lot more, not only outpatient primary care, but also specialty or secondary clinics is what they call them, right? So that's really, we're going to do everything we can. I can assure you of that. You've heard our county executive voice his concerns over the closure of Castle Point. So we're going to do everything we can, rest assured, to do the three things I said. Make sure that we have quality care for our veterans, transport them, and advocate for the continuity of care going forward. Again, should this happen, we're uncertain at this point. We've got a Luncheon next week at the VFW, Ulster County Veteran Service Agency Luncheon, sponsored by Adams at the VFW. If you'd like to come to this luncheon next Thursday, please call 340-3190.
That's open to all vets.
That's open to all veterans and spouses or caregivers. Okay, so hurry up, call up, get your name on the list.
That's the VFW Post Kingston?
That's the VFW, right, on the Chester bypass there, yep. So we've got that going.
I've seen it when we've done that in Sorgaties, and it's pretty impressive because folks come from everywhere.
They do, and we plan on moving it. This is the first one
since COVID.
Post-COVID that we're sponsoring. The National Center for Veteran Reintegration has sponsored 2. They just had theirs last week in conjunction with Keith Bennett's Karate in Kingston, which is a great thing. So they started theirs up, and we were like, let's get ours back up and running again. So this will be the first one post-COVID.
Okay, cool.
We continue to deal with not only transportation, which, like I talked about earlier, is one of our primary missions at the agency. We also deal with crisis management, homelessness, substance abuse. We advocate for veterans to get the treatment and the care that they need. Some exciting stuff that's coming up. We're right now at the ground stages of talking about a veteran court. Alternative justice for veterans, quite similar to drug court that's being run. So our office, along with the public defender's office, the district attorney.
Are there models for that around the country, or is this something brand new?
No, there are models.
Okay.
There are models around the state, as a matter of fact, as well. Suffolk County has a pretty extensive program, not run by their county veteran service agency, but run by a peer support group. So that's what we hope to do as well. Right, so we hope to assist in getting this off the ground, advocate for it, and partner with the Hudson Valley National Center for Veteran Reintegration and also the Vet-to-Vet peer support program that's run right here in Kingston out of Tech City.
Perfect. I think that's really. I'm surprised no one thought of it here locally before.
Well, we have, Fred. Okay. We have, and I've normally been the one that advocates for the veterans that find themselves, that make a bad decision or find themselves on the wrong side of the law. So I have a good relationship with the magistrates across the county, and again, I have a great relationship with the public defender's office. I'm trying to build those bridges with the district attorney. We're not quite there yet, but the county judge, Judge Rounds, is very much in favor for it and having it at the county level. So we're excited about this program because because we don't have it, a vet court, so to say, there are, when veterans come to me or magistrates come to me or public defenders and say, hey, this person is a veteran, what can we do? And our role is to inform both sides what the veteran is eligible for, what we will assist in getting their care, should it be a substance abuse, domestic violence, whatever the case may be. So that's kind of our role. We go between the VA itself also has a justice program, and there's a coordinator in Albany that I work with that also facilitates, okay, you got yourself in trouble. This is what we can do to help with whatever it is got you there. We don't weigh in on the legal ramifications. We don't, we don't pick a side to say one way or another. We just let everyone involved know, right, this is what's available.
And I think that's a big gap. There are a lot of support services out there, especially for vets. And there's a gap. Sometimes there's a hesitancy because you want to think of yourself as independent and don't need help. But those things are there for a reason.
Is the premise to get them, obviously it's to get them help and treatment. Is that versus going to jail? Or it could be a combination of both if they're crimes? Because I guess I'm trying to figure out what level fits in there,
Right, so that's a very good question, Mayor Murphy. So it depends on, obviously, what the crime is, right? Whether it's a substance abuse, whether it's a DUI, a nonviolent, let's just say nonviolent versus violent. So if it's nonviolent and treatment, some sort of substance abuse treatment, anger management treatment, whatever that is, if that's an option for both the prosecutor and the judge or the magistrate, I just let them know that, yes, I can make sure that this veteran is going to get that level of care. I can't make that person go to their appointments. I can't make them go. Obviously, they have to be a willing component of that. So it's not a get-out-of-jail card free. It's a, hey, you got in trouble, now we're going to help you. You have to complete X, Y, and Z, and then we'll revisit this and make a final judgment at a later date and time, which is mostly the case. Violent offenses are a little bit more difficult.
It still could be related to mental illness as a result of
So it almost sounds like it's very, very similar to the restorative justice program that I believe is sponsored by Family of Woodstock and run by that young lady that just with the cases that we had with the teenagers, what success. I mean, we had 4 different incidents and wow. I mean,
right. And the county has a restorative justice director as well. So the county is very involved in both programs. And it's the recidivism rate for a veteran that I've worked with, I would say we have like a 90% success rate. There's always that 10% that you try to help and
can't make it click
at that particular point in time. Maybe later on down the road.
Still 90%. That's
pretty good.
That's
good.
Awesome. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
That's very, very good.
That's so much better than just giving up on somebody. Whether veteran or not. I mean, like Greg said, in our justice system, I mean, to have that program available for anybody. I mean, so many people sometimes make one mistake.
Right.
And if they don't get the help they need, it entirely ruins their life. And many people are salvageable. Now, obviously, there's some that just you're never going to help.
Right.
Veteran or non-veteran, they're just they're beyond
And
help.
if it happens with a younger youth, okay, that road that they were going on, the wrong road that they were going on, now they're put onto the straight and narrow, the right road. That individual could become a totally different individual if it wasn't for these programs, and very similar with yours, with the veterans.
Right, and what we find, especially with our younger veterans, they struggle when they get back, right? So when you serve your country, you're in one mindset, and everybody's a team. The support structures are always there. They're never not there. So you've lived your life with 2, 4, 26 years like myself, and that's been your way of life. You come home and that structure, it's like you're starting again, right? So there's difficulty in that, which, to add a caveat to that, that's what the Reintegration Center, National Center for Veteran Reintegration, and the Vet-to-Vet program are really honed in to do. Right, so our office provides access to VA benefits, the crisis management that I talked about briefly, but it's mostly the federal benefit side. It's compensation for an injury, it's getting medical care, it's all education programs for veterans and so forth. The peer-to-peer aspect of that is it's a place for the veteran to go to find that structure. They have peer-to-peer counselors over there. They have different programs, mindfulness program. They do yoga. They go for walks. They build kayaks. They have a Warriors Writers program. I mean, there is a lot of stuff going on over there at the peer level. So we say in the veteran community to wrap our arms around them, right? To talk about their struggles in reintegrating, maybe helping them with employment, maybe helping direct them towards the correct educational, whatever it is they want to do, whether it's a trade or whether it's, traditional type of college. So those veterans that have a difficulty reintegrating into their communities are normally the ones that we find that isolate, right? And then they struggle, and then they'll make a bad decision. So most of the time, not nonviolent, but there are those few exceptions that they just can't handle it. And you're right, Mayor Murphy. A lot of it has to do with substance abuse or mental illness due to depression or isolation. All the things that when you're in the military, you're moving 100 miles an hour every day. You come home and it's like, oh, which way do I go? Right. So it takes a little bit to figure that out. But the but is our office, along with the Hudson Valley the National Center for Veteran Reintegration and the Vet-to-Vet program, is that we have these here in Ulster County, right? So they are there, and all it takes is for a veteran to reach out or for us to get a call to say, hey, I think this person is a veteran and they need some help. not only are those organizations, your local VFWs and American Legions are always, and you gentlemen know from Saugerties how active we are in the community. Kingston is the same way. Rosendale, Tilson are very active. There's some very active, New Paltz VFW is very active. So there are some active, and if you go to those places as a young veteran, they understand you. Maybe you can't be on a committee or because you're trying to raise a family or you're focusing on your life, but there are resources there at those places that can help you maybe get a job or, can at least guide you and wrap their arms around you to say, hey, welcome home. How can I help?
It gives them a network,
Right. And a lot of the younger vets just don't, either they don't know, right, or they don't utilize those because they're too busy, because they're like, that's behind me. I need to put that behind me. I need to focus on what's in front of me.
Well, don't you think, too, of the younger vets? I mean, I've seen it. The younger vets come home and they're like, the veterans, that's for the older war guys. Like, it's not for us young guys.
That is correct.
Right? It seems to be.
And it is that way just for the reason I said. A lot of them, like myself, you come home with a family. I went to school. I had to get a job. I didn't have time to, sit around and, talk with the older veterans, right? And I didn't, in my mind then, I didn't really understand the resources or what they can provide. If you go to one of these and you just start talking to an older vet, a Vietnam era vet or a Korean War era vet, they are a wealth of knowledge. They know. They've been through it. So, if you just take half an hour, stop in, see what's going on, maybe go to one meeting, you will learn a lot as a younger veteran from, I know I've learned myself. I have several Vietnam veterans that I'm not only do I help with their benefits, we're friends, that I'm very close to, which makes me feel really good, right? And them as well. It gives them a purpose as well.
When there's a curious thing that I observed during the Vietnam Wall hosting Saugerties, that whole experience was just uplifting and unbelievable. But when I was seeing guys that we know from our VFW and Legion hanging out with guys that got back from Iraq or one of the Afghanistan tours, there was a special connection and a bond. You could just see it happen, and it was healing for both sides. The older vets got to mentor and share their experience and say, I remember coming home and having those feelings, and then the younger guys are just like, holy cow, I'm not crazy. Right. And there's a place for me to fit in and to understand and have a successful career and a life and a family and become a grandparent. It was wild. I'm just watching it happen, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about it.
It was very, it's very cathartic and therapeutic. And I didn't think that, right? When I came home in 2008, I didn't, I knew about the Vietnam vets and all, but I had no idea what I could learn from them and how they could make me feel to the extent of which I know now, right? So I think it's just a realization that a vet is a vet, regardless, of your branch of service, your gender, your background. A vet is a vet is a vet. And I say in my office, this is my saying, every day is Veterans Day, which is true. I go to work every day and I deal with vets every day, and it's truly an honor, really, to do what I do. I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
I couldn't see you doing much else either, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
This is one of the things you just wrap your whole arms around and go with, and I'm fitted in many ways, because I know I've directed folks your way, and it's been pretty amazing to watch the support they've gotten and how that moment where I turned them on to you, they're better off for it now.
Thank you.
Pretty amazing.
So hopefully, we got some veterans listening. And, if anybody has a question for Frank, 331-9255 is our call-in number. And why don't you throw out the number if there is a veteran out there looking for assistance that may not be aware of that program. And then the other thing that I think that's important that you touched upon for our listeners and our viewers, that if you know of a veteran that is hesitant about seeking out help, seeking out assistance, that individual can also call the Veterans
Absolutely. 340-3190. And that's 9 to 5. Obviously, not all crises happen 9 to 5, and we understand that. But if we get you into our office, if you can get in, you can get emergency contact numbers for when you're in crisis. And also the National Suicide Prevention Hotline is a good resource if it's that bad. And when a veteran calls, either the veteran suicide hotline or the national suicide hotline, they automatically get connected to Albany. And if the veteran who's calling authorizes the Albany VA to contact our office, if the veteran says, yeah, sure, go ahead and let them know, we'll get a call the very next day. And it's happened quite a few times. We'll get a call from Albany, from the VA providers, saying this vet, this is where they're at, they need help. And it just happened last week. Was the last time.
Reach out.
We will go to them if they can't get to us, and then we'll provide them the resource. We have resources. We can provide immediate housing, which is, exactly like Department of Social Services does. We're going to provide immediate housing. We can get them into treatment. There's a lot of things. There are a lot of agencies out there. We have the Patriot House, the Patriot Project here in Kingston for homeless vets, and it also helps them reintegrate, connects them with services. We work with Soldier On out of Massachusetts. They kind of operate our house. I mean, it's owned and maintained by the county, but the operations, the day-to-day, are run by Soldier On. Currently, we have 5 veterans in there now with a capacity of 8. So we are here for you. And you don't have to be a younger veteran either. If you're a vet, period, and you have not been to our office, 340-3190.
Perfect. We're going to run out of time, so before we lose you, I want to take a quick moment to switch gears a little and thank you. During the ice storm about a month ago, Executive Ryan sent you to Saugerties to help manage our shelter. And Greg and I have opened that shelter how many times over the past 18 years, but that particular time.
Too many times.
Too many, correct.
But it's a great resource, and again, I reiterate what Fred just had to say. Thank you very much for everything.
Thank you, gentlemen. I tell you, I was fortunate, right? So my address, right there in Bishop's Gate, I didn't lose power, and I saw the devastation not only in Saugerties but throughout the county. And when I got the call, hey, Frank, would you help out with the Saugerties shelter? I said, sure, absolutely, I'll do it. So, I got the call from, it was directed by Pat Ryan, and the call came down, and I had no idea to the extent. Of course, I knew when I got there. But it was, it's of course, absolutely.
It was perfect. It was fun to watch your military training kick in, and you're coming from logistics side. All right, we need this, and this. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get that. I'm gonna make some phone calls, and we'll make sure we have this. But the folks that stayed there all benefited heavily from that.
Yeah, it was quite the experience. Even though it was tough, and it was tough for a lot of folks.
Yeah, it was.
They had smiles on their when someplace warm. They had a place to lay their head. We had soup. We had
the food. Yeah,
we had food. You supported it with a great meal for the day. So it was a community effort, and I'm just really glad I could play my part.
Once again, I've said this a million times. Successful outcomes is a result of a team effort. It's a result of a team effort.
Well, I mean,
and we experience that so many times in Saugerties. And we go back to the start of the pandemic.
Yep. I was gonna say that.
What the Legion and VFW members did, assisting us with.
Talk about being organized.
Resiliency.
Kevin Pendergrass. I mean, Kevin was handling the drivers for us delivering the food, and Kevin had to schedule the guys, and and when we did the shots at the high school, the COVID shots, same thing for the parking. It's just amazing.
What a relief! What a burden off of our shoulders, because if there wasn't that kind of support, it would fall onto us. I mean, we couldn't just turn the back and say, "Oh no, we can't handle this."
Right.
But what was that? Project Resiliency?
Project Resiliency.
Yeah. I mean, and it was
unbelievable,
ongoing. Many weeks.
And you'll find it in military. Well, with the military, and especially with the military and first response, community service is really what it's about. It might be at a different level, but really any service member wants is to come home. Right, and home doesn't necessarily have to be a specific geographical place. It's a place in their mind where they feel home, where home is home. And when that's accomplished, a veteran can really be an asset, right? We can help. And not only can we help, we want to help. We're there for our community. So.
Just the wealth and knowledge that, and I'll touch upon just one other example. When we did the Healthcare Heroes Parade, and then we did the Sorgady's students, seniors parade, members of the American Legion, VFW, and I can remember Warren Whitaker getting out of his car. He had his vest on already. Okay, he had his directional flags. We got boxes of this stuff ready to give. Matt Russell comes out, same thing.
Cases of water just in case anybody gets dehydrated. Yeah, Warren is a Vietnam vet too. So.
And I think he was at Court Drive and Pavilion Street with Artie Russell. And of course, that was quite a critical post. And, just his towering figure and giving the directives.
And those are two Vietnam vets that you just mentioned that are local too, and that are very active in the community.
Not taken away from anyone else.
No, I know. And it's the same thing with the shelter. I had Frank Ray was helping me. It was a community. It was a team.
Yeah, National Guard there.
Right. National Guard was there. Red Cross showed up the next day. The first 24 hours were... I was in my element, I guess you would.
Yeah, you were. You were right in the zone.
Right.
I think Sorgady's thrives under adverse conditions, and I think the veterans have always been a huge reason why. I mean, I think Sorgady's and veterans kind of just go together. I mean, we're a home for veterans, and like you said, I mean, everything we do somehow involves the veterans.
We want to continue to do that. It's our home. It's our
those
community.
Towering legends. I mean, Jimmy Gage.
It's
Roger Donald, Paul Donnellan before him.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. And my years working at the Legion, I remember you guys had meetings on Thursday nights.
Yeah, you did used to work.
10 years I was there. I used to do my Thursday nights there, and I used to love seeing, the mixture guys. Like you said, the older, you still had World War II veterans mixing with Afghan, it was just to see that span. And I saw that grow during my 10 years. In that period of time, that's when I think the Legion really started growing again. Because the Legion went through a period where it was suffering, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And then it started, and a lot of it had to do with guys like you, Kevin Pendergrass, a couple previous commanders you guys had, and you guys really brought it up. It's rocking. I mean,
I don't know whether you know this or not, but many, many years ago, when the mayor was in the mayor was in high school, I hired him, as a summer job, and then he came to work for me part-time. He worked. How many years did you work for me?
Well, full-time? Well, I worked part-time. I worked for you for like 6-7 summers, then I worked for you full-time for like 5-6 years.
So, that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And what do? I turn around and
hire him again as a bartender.
American Legion.
Yeah, I remember when I came home. That's what he was
that's
doing.
when I first met you. When you first came home. Yeah, that was 2008.
Unfortunately, Frank, that half hour just flew by. We are not just we're overtime now. Right now, Frank Rosario, Deputy Director, Ulster County Veterans Administration. Thank you very much. We'll have to get you back on here because that half hour just flew by.
Quick.
Listeners and viewers, we'll be back in a few with birthdays and March Gallagher.
Just met that.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas for Habitat for Humanity Restore. Habitat Restores are nonprofit home improvement stores and donation centers that sell new and gently used furniture, building materials, and appliances to the public at a fraction of the retail cost. The Ulster County Restore at 406 Route 28 in Kingston needs your donations. Call our hotline at 845-853-7499 to schedule your free pickup. And thanks.
We are Lions. We bring hope where it's needed, support causes that matter, change lives, change communities, change the world. Visit lionsclubs.org to learn more.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from, all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
To battle is to fight, to struggle, to overcome, and ultimately for the Marine Corps, it means to win. There is no alternative. It's not just a statement of intent. It's a promise to our nation. A promise kept for more than 2 centuries. A promise of the Marines.
Introducing the YMCA. Sure, you know the Y for a swim or a game of hoops, but we're more than that. We're a cause. When you take a jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Practice yoga as a team practices her leadership skills. We give people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds a chance to learn, grow, and thrive. So while you might think of the Y as the place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. That's the Y. We're so much more. Visit ymca.net/more.
Hi, this is Winnie from the Rosendale Seniors, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Teresa? Oh.
Thank you, Lawrence. We are back on the air, 331-9255. Welcome back, listeners who have been with us the past hour and those just joining us. We've got March Gallagher, County Comptroller, 2 weeks in a row here. I felt bad in cutting her out because she just had so much, so had to get her back on.
Always also, a wealth of knowledge.
Wealth of knowledge is indeed.
Thank you.
And a very, very important position that you hold in the county as the Ulster County Comptroller. Fred Costello, Supervisor, Town of Sorgeties, is also in the studio here, as is Mayor Bill Murphy.
I'm Bill now.
Yeah, you didn't say who you are.
You're out of trouble. That's a good thing.
So
Bill has a
time
birthday
for birthdays.
For us,
Yeah. Just call me Willie.
Okay, Willie.
All right.
Shoot.
We have happy birthday and best wishes to Teresa DeShane from your Sorgeties friends.
That's it?
That's it.
Uh-oh. So today's winner obviously is Teresa DeShane. Teresa, congratulations. Happy birthday. When you get the opportunity, get over to Boyce Dairy Milk House, 62 O'Neill Street right here in Kingston. Pick up that famous cow pie, which is courtesy of Boyce Dairy Milk House and Kingston Community Radio. Listeners, viewers, very easy to send the birthdays in. Please continue to do so. It's, again, very easy. You can email kcr921@gmail.com. You can postal mail. Notice I don't say snail mail anymore. I get in trouble by George.
Yep.
You can postal mail to P.O. Box 4364, Kingston, New York, 12402. So once again, Teresa DeShane, happy birthday. Enjoy your cow pie and have an awesome day.
And one more birthday, and I didn't mail it in for a reason. It's for my late mom, who will be 97 tomorrow. Would be 97 tomorrow. She never was 39 past 39 in her eyes, but she'd be 97 tomorrow. So
we need birthday competition. Otherwise, it's not a real contest to get this cow pie.
We can't throw it into the jug and mix it up and everything else when there's just one.
Exactly.
So as I was saying before we came on the air, I always hate cutting guests off. All of us do. And you were, just in the middle of something, and we ran out of time. So.
Well, thanks for having me back.
Thanks for doing this.
It's your job as the host to cut people off. I think a good host knows how to cut people off. So I think that's an important skill to have so that you can, hear from everybody at the table and make sure people don't run over their time. We were talking about gas tax. The county executive and the county legislature are proposing a cut to gas tax to provide some relief for residents on, these inflationary prices that we're seeing. But I have a lot of questions about it, and I don't really understand how it's enforced. I asked Fred if he had received any communication about whether or not those cuts in revenue would be passed on to the towns. That's not clear to me yet, because, of course, the county gets a sales tax payment from the state. So every dollar you spend on a taxable item, 8 cents of that we charge 8 cents of sales tax. 4 of those cents go to New York State. 4 of those cents come back to Ulster County. 3 of those cents stay with Ulster County, and 1 cent is divided up. But it's a very complex formula. Send me an email if you want it. I'm happy to send it over.
That's similar how the marijuana tax is going to operate as well, right? The breakdown.
Yes, there's
But that's more generous locally.
Yeah.
Yes,
Significantly more
I think it's
generous
more
locally,
generous. Yeah. So what I don't understand is whether it will just completely benefit Ulster County residents, and I say that because Ulster County has 3 thruway rest areas, and there are not other counties with 3 rest areas. I know Dutchess jumped out in front of this gas tax thing. They don't have the New York State Thruway, and they don't have 3 rest areas. So everybody who pumps a gallon of gas at a rest area who's just passing through Ulster County for a minute, we're going to miss their revenue, and they're going to get a tax break. I don't know if that makes sense. Gasoline sales is the 2nd highest category of taxable sales in Ulster County after automobiles.
It does make sense, and I never even thought about that. And you look at those rest stops. I live on the Malden Turnpike, so I go over the thruway bridge there, and we've got the Malden Hot Shop right to the north of the bridge. Yeah. And the amount of vehicular traffic that's in there, I never thought about
It's really high. So the other thing is, I don't know the history of the thruway, but apparently we had a very locally supportive state representative that lived in Saugerties, right? That's why we have 2 exits in Saugerties,
Only one on
but
the
we
thruway.
have 3 exits in Ulster County, which is a lot, and 3 hot shops. So we were really benefited by the New York State Thruway in a way that we don't really keep track of or even pay attention to. We just take it for granted.
I never even thought of that. That is an excellent point. Wow.
So I'm concerned about the gas tax. I don't know if the cut is going to be passed on to the municipalities, meaning the revenue cut on the sales tax side. I don't know how much of that benefit is going to go outside of Ulster County residents. And my last question is, how do you actually enforce it? Because we've heard, and I think the Assemblyman Cahill was on last week talking about how hard it is to guarantee that those price reductions come to you at the pump. And by the way, are you really going to notice a 4 cents difference right now when you're paying $4.51 a gallon? So I wonder about ways that we can pass back benefits on the big revenue side and to shelter people from inflation. I just throw that out there.
And if it does impact the local municipalities, which I can't imagine that the county legislature would not do, okay, and I'm not saying that in a derogatory fashion, but if the county is going to be losing a sizable amount of revenue, I'm sure that is going to be passed on to the local municipalities, and the bottom line is the taxpayers are not going to gain anything because what they may be saving at the pump, all right, the town's going to be losing in tax revenue, which may result in a tax increase. So for 4 cents, and the thing is, gas has dropped. The price of oil was down, I think, was it 4%?
Trading below 100 a barrel again.
Right.
So there's some optimism that we're going to stabilize the price increases at some point. But I get it. This feels good. It's a good political stunt, quite frankly.
Right,
and I think it's skeptical to think that even if that did get passed on to consumers, that we would experience a windfall, so to speak. And it's likely, and I think Assemblyman Cahill made a great point about this, that savings would stay within the oil infrastructure, which is being squeezed by profit right now in a weird way too. So the distribution companies will probably just absorb up that benefit, and it would never make it to consumers anyway.
I just want to say, we have a 1 cent a gallon tax, federal. I think that's what it is, on a federal tax on gasoline that is completely dedicated 100% to infrastructure. I would hate to see us lose that. I always want to see investments in infrastructure, as long as it's not a highway to nowhere, which obviously is stupid. But I really think that state, federal, local, we have to really think about who benefits, what all the impacts are. And I appreciate the county executive and the county legislature are really just looking at ways to assist Ulster County residents. We do, financially, the county is in a good position right now, right? We want to be able to help people out at a time of need, but it's going to take some time.
As you alluded to, I believe last week, that going out to 2024, 2025, that picture wasn't so rosy.
Yeah, I'm always the doomsayer there. I do think future years are going to be harder. I mean, we have all this stimulus money at every level of government that flooded, everybody's pockets, and it makes people willing to spend right now. That's why it's hard to find people to do construction work, because everybody's building. And 3 or 4 years from now, it may be more difficult to get that done. Yeah.
Is there an accounting? My wheels were spinning when you brought up the thruway, because again, I never even thought about that. But is there any kind of an accounting what the tax revenue from the three rest areas?
I don't have it. I was talking to Pat Ryan about that yesterday, saying maybe see if your finance commissioner gets the tax. I think the commissioner.
Huge.
I don't have it. I think the commissioner of finance does have access to who pays in a more direct way than we can get to. So yeah, I think we should look at that. And by the way, it's not just gasoline, right? People are going in there buying food, other, fast food and sundries. Yeah, so there is a big benefit from
when
that.
You look at a rig pulling in to fuel up on diesel.
Whew, it's got to be hundreds of dollars a tank.
Hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would really be interesting to see.
And there's hundreds of rigs that pull in those state places a day, if not thousands.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I never thought about that either, though. It's got to be huge.
Yeah.
And like you said, everything else they buy in there as well.
It adds up.
Speaking of infrastructure, last week, I think was it Friday? Senator Schumer was in town, held a press conference down on the waterfront. I was able to go down there. I was actually invited by the property owner, Rabbi Yanucci, because we've been friends for a while. And he, it's funny, I think people have been unhappy that he hasn't developed the waterfront. Okay, he owns 5,000 linear feet of waterfront, including the Cornell building, which is kind of the largest building as you head towards the river, as well as a bunch of other parcels there. And he's not a developer. He's never been a developer. He's never developed anything. He's a assembler. He aggregates parcels together. And when you put two parcels that are next to each other under common ownership, there's a value that accrues there because you can build a bigger thing, you can do a bigger thing when you have sort of contiguous properties. So anyway, Rabbi Yanucci invited me down. Senator Schumer was talking about a $100,000 study that's going to go to the city of Kingston. But what I wanted to say to you guys is that there's a real push now to improve the bulkhead. The bulkhead all along the Rondout is just collapsing. And you can see sinkholes. It's just whoop, bye. And we have to repair that. Both Kingston and Saugerties have kind of deep water areas where we can do marine activities that many other communities don't have. Mm-hmm. And in Saugerties, of course, you have the Army Corps right there, so they're well aware of it. And you've got things like Arm of the Sea, and you have a bunch of, they bought that property that I think Clearwater was thinking of working in. But it really is an important part of our history, our heritage, and probably our economic future. Think about it this way. Why don't we have riverboat tours of the Hudson Valley? You could go tour the Rhine in Germany, but you can't take a riverboat out of New York City and come to a winery in Marlborough. Why not?
There's an opportunity for that, though.
There is a huge opportunity.
To do.
But there's nowhere you can actually dock those boats right now. The infrastructure isn't quite set up for that. And so I think over the next 10 years, you'll see a riverboat industry in the Hudson Valley, which I think would be awesome.
We have replaced the bulkhead at Tina Jarvis Park. We did as part of the FEMA money.
You know what?
Tina Jarvis?
Tina Jarvis.
Who?
You didn't say Jarvis.
Jarvis. Jarvis.
Tina
Jarvis.
Can't get it right.
See, when you say a name over and over again, it sounds
His
funny.
aunt was actually engaged to my uncle.
See,
you guys are almost
so
family.
incestuous.
He was almost a relative of mine, no less.
Imagine Thanksgiving's then.
So incestuous.
Dodged that bullet. Unfortunately, my uncle passed away, and I dodged that bullet.
Oh, real nice. Real nice.
Maybe he knew what kind of family he was getting into. I don't know.
I try to say, I'm from a small town. People are like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, when you stand on the street corner, every car that drives by, you know what they smoke, who they... No, never mind. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, that's a curious point, and I agree. There's certainly an opportunity there. Just if you start in Newburgh and come north all the way to Hudson, there's a lot to do. Yeah. A lot.
Yeah, you could be stopping in Newburgh, you could be stopping in Poughkeepsie. And the thing is, right now we look at the Newburgh waterfront, we're like, okay, what would I do? Go to Blue Point for dinner. But really, if we had riverboats stopping there would be a lot more interest in business development, Poughkeepsie waterfront, Newburgh waterfront, Kingston waterfront. So, and again, the other part of what they were talking about was just the flood inundation risk. You know, we are going to see more flooding. We already see washing out of that street. And the part of the plan is to raise the road above, you know, just a couple feet. So you'll be driving on a slightly elevated surface as you go over there to, you know,
to visit the waterfront.
To the waterfront,
to mitigate the risk of a car being inundated with
and
water.
To provide
stalling,
vehicular access in emergency. You know, you want to be able to get ambulances in there and stuff, even if there's
It's quite an undertaking, though. But those bulkheads are
expensive.
150, 200 years old, yeah.
They're really expensive, too.
Millions.
Well, you know, you mentioned a bit ago about infrastructure. And even infrastructure that may not be, you know, all that old, 50-plus years. The infrastructure that's in place, that's been out there, just say maybe just more than 10 or 15 years, cannot handle the weather events that we get.
And then, and the traffic.
And the traffic. I've said this time and time again. You stop and think, when was the last time it rained normal? A nice, steady rain, 18, 24 hours. Okay, that's not the case. You get these events with copious amounts of rain in short time windows, and it can't handle it. It can't handle it.
You know that because, I mean, the storms we get in the village, and I mean, you know, where Brian's bookstore is and other places, you know, all of a sudden we're getting this accumulating water from these storms. And I've called the state, and bottom line is the state says our infrastructure is not made for these storms.
Right,
the water's going to...
It's going to back up. We have 5 sump pumps in the basement.
To keep up?
Yeah, it's like, it's drier than it's ever been, but it's...
We've got 2 in mine.
Did he put a B-dry system in too?
I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, I know we went through a lot of that. But yeah, I mean, in the bottom line, if we try to help as much as we can, I try to explain, infrastructure's not there. It's not...
Right, and it's coming up through the floor, and I think a lot of people, you know, and just through the walls, and a lot of people are experiencing that in their homes. And we have to get ready for it, though, because as you look at the climate change models, you know, the Hudson Valley is slated to get those more rain in larger rain events. And you know what? I hate to say this, that's actually going to be a good thing, because there's places that are going to get no rain, and I would not want to be there. The fire risk, like out in California and other places, is just going to become extreme and may make some places not habitable. And it's like, you know what? I guess we're going to have to just expand our culverts. We're going to have to, you know, get rain catchment of some time. I mean, I don't know what the technology is, but we're going to have to address it. And we'll probably be thankful in 20 years that we have more water than other people.
You know, I may be totally off base with this, but here again, I mean, I've said this now for a dozen years, maybe more. New York State, the Northeast, you know, water is a precious commodity.
Absolutely.
We've got lots of it. And as you just said, out west, they're in trouble out there. And there's places that people will not rebuild. It may not be inhabitable. You know, is that going to be the precious commodity that brings some people back, you know, from New York? It's even Florida. I was down in February. They had drought restrictions already.
Texas, too.
Texas, there's another area.
We're I mean, as much as we hate the winters and the driving rainstorms, we're fortunate to have that resource.
I am unhappy it's been so cold this week. I have to say, like seeing 20, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make a fire in the wood stove again. What are we doing? We're going backwards.
Felt really a 50-degree change from the time I left Myrtle on Sunday to like when I got back to Hartford.
Yeah,
it was 50-degree difference.
It's a little much. And that taxes everybody's bills. By the way, you know, their heat bills. I sat on the Facebook Live that Central Hudson had last night. You know, they were sort of doing their mea culpa and answering questions, but not really answering questions, right? Because it wasn't open to the public. It was Alana asking, you know, other Central Hudson staff, like, questions about what's happening with their software change and the billing practices, and the comments were just unbelievably irate. I mean, I have never seen a chat with just like hundreds and hundreds of angry people. And so it's going to take time. I mean, they were explaining what's happening, but...
Now, my bill this month, I just got my bill and went back to normal, to my installment payment. Though they jacked it up $20 a month from the previous, I'm going to call up and say, no, it stays the same because I was under left. But it seems like I'm back on the monthly, which I heard they were doing away with. But
I'm so confused. You know, they said they weren't going to do automatic withdrawals anymore, which is great because I don't really want you to do that if I don't really understand the billing. But anyway, it's a shame. People should.
There's a gap there, and we're sort of experiencing because we come to expect the automatic withdrawal even if it's wrong, and now it's not. So all of a sudden, you got to remember to pay your bill.
Exactly. Hopefully, everybody remembers to pay.
Yeah.
If people have specific concerns about bills, they should Google Public Service Commission complaint form, because there is an easy way to kind of file something. You can take a JPEG, a picture of your bill if you're confused about it, and you can reach back out to Central Hudson. I know people have had a hard time doing that, but they do want to know, and they are trying to dig out from this problem. So, but that was a kind of an intense conversation.
How many people have sent you their bills?
Oh, we get a lot.
Yeah, I've gotten
we get a lot. Actually, who's been an amazing resource? Jeff Demansky, the Jewel operator. Terrific. He can look at a bill and explain the whole thing to you in 30 seconds.
Like I said, I've had people now contacting me saying, how come the village is not on the CCA like the town is? And I'm like, we're in the process. I said, but a year ago when I put this out there, you were all against it.
Yeah.
But now you're getting these bills. And,
And now they
how come you're
realize,
not there?
we should do it. Yeah. I mentioned on my Facebook that we're going to be releasing an audit today. I'm pretty sure it'll go out today. I mentioned it last week. We looked at the investment policy of the county to see if we were in compliance with it. We're really not. We have over $190 million in checking. We could be investing that in other places that are safe, liquid, diverse. So by safe, New York State says you can only invest in certain things. Liquid, we might need to be able to get that money if we have some unexpected expenditure, or if we just need to tap in the regular course of business. We're supposed to be doing cash management analysis. This is what most people do at their kitchen table, right? They say, no, we can't go back to school shopping this week because we're not going to get the paycheck till whatever it is. You look at your expenses and you kind of figure out what your big times of the year are, and you do it at the town and the village, right? So the county, we have certain times of the year where we pay out a lot more money, February, March, when we're making those tax payments to the taxing jurisdictions like you guys. But we could be earning more money for people, and the policy that we have right now says that we can only invest, well, it doesn't. It says we have to invest in depository institutions in Ulster County. That's how we forced Bank of Greene County to move here, by the way, and build a branch. But
they're very grateful for it.
Exactly.
Because they've done very well.
Yeah, they have. But then it also says that we can invest in other things like treasuries and CDs. And I think the way the policy is being interpreted, that it has to be in Ulster County, tell me, is a treasury bill in Ulster County? So the thing about it is that when you have a bad policy, it's not a good idea to say, we can't do it because the policy's bad. Change it.
Yeah.
Fix it. You got to do something different. So we did our analysis using New York class, which I know the town of Saugerties is looking at getting into. I've since found out the city of Kingston is in it, the city of Kingston School District is in it, Onteora is in it, Village of New Paltz is in it, Town of New Paltz. A number of municipal entities are invested in this very safe product. We did our analysis on kind of the old version of New York Class. They actually have a new version, Fred, New York Class Prime, because New York State expanded the ability of at least counties, I don't know about towns, but possibly, to invest in additional vehicles that are just a little bit more expansive than what old law said. So, because we were really restricted in what we could invest in, and New York Class Prime is.
I'm not aware of the prime part, but we are. It's highly likely that we're going to become part of New York Class in April, and because we tried with CDs, and Julie Dunn, our bookkeeper, was amazing, and we did fairly well when there was an interest rate. But now, for the past year and a half, there hasn't been an interest rate, and
it's going to come back. The Fed's going to raise rates. I think we could see 50 basis points in a minute. So get ready for that.
Yeah, but I think one of the things appealing about New York Class, if we buy an interest rate for 3, 6, or 8 months, that's the interest rate for the whole thing. With New York Class, if the rate moves, you move with it. And I think that's, you get those benefits earlier or the penalties too. But in where we are now, I feel like those penalties will be rewarding, not penalizing.
Exactly. I think that's true. So really, for me, this just exemplifies the whole setup of the charter and the way the comptroller is supposed to work with the legislature and executive, right? We reviewed this thing. Look, we've had change in leadership at almost every elected office: county executive, county comptroller, DA, sheriff. and county judge in the last 2 years, right? 3 years now, I guess. And we're looking at this policy. It's been COVID, so it hasn't been a good time over the last 2 years to take something like that on. Now it is. We review it. We provide some analysis. We share that back to the executive and the legislature. The executive could make some changes. The legislature might need to update the policy. We can all work together, and that benefits the taxpayer, right? Rather than like fighting with each other about something that is not going to help anybody. So the Charter Revision Commission is going to come together again.
Really?
Yeah. The last time they met
That's
was
statutory required?
Yeah, they're supposed to meet every 10 years. They did meet in 2017, but on a very narrow redistricting issue. So I think there's concern that they should meet on the broader set of, look at the entire charter. So if you guys have recommendations for names, you should reach out to, the county executive or legislative chair or minority chair. I got a phone call. I can't even say this on air. I got a phone call from the Times Union. They're like, hey, we just want to see, how will you feel if Hector Rodriguez is appointed to the Charter Revision Commission? I was like, after like 30 seconds of sputtering curse words, I was like, okay, well, I feel like he might not be able to be impartial with respect to anything coming out of my office, but I was shocked. So we need good people on that commission. If you know of people who are kind of interested in reading, text and making recommendations. Yeah.
Is there, do you have a caller?
That's probably Kevin, maybe.
Do we have a caller, Lawrence?
No, you have your next guest ready to go. It's time. We're at the bottom of the hour.
All right.
We are. Thanks for having me, guys. I know I just blathered on.
Arch Gallagher, thank you very, very much. And I'm glad this opportunity presented itself with this fifth Wednesday, so you could get back here after I cut you off last week.
Thank you so much, Greg.
Listeners and viewers, we'll be back in a few with Stallions owner Kevin Hinchy.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Grammer. Wounded Warrior Project supports injured veterans by connecting them with fellow warriors, by serving them through mental health and wellness programs, and by empowering them to live on their own terms. No one should face a battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? By shifting to a system that gives more patients access to strong primary care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
To battle is to fight, to struggle, to overcome, and ultimately for the Marine Corps, it means to win. There is no alternative. It's not just a statement of intent. It's a promise to our nation. A promise kept for more than 2 centuries. A promise of the Marines.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from. All that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
Hi, I'm Ruth Quick from town of Ulster. I support Kingston Community Radio, and you should too.
This programming is brought to you by the Friends of Kevin Cahill. As a strong advocate of local broadcasting, Assemblymember Cahill urges you to support Kingston Community Radio with your time and donations. Your contributions keep KCR vital and on the air at FM 92.5, AM 920, and on the web at mykcr.org. Please join Assemblymember Cahill and send your gifts of $10, $25, or more to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. Together, let's keep KCR alive.
Thank you, Lawrence, and welcome back, viewers and listeners that have been with us this morning, and those just joining us. 331-9255 is our call-in number. In the studio here with me is Supervisor, Town of Sorgetes, Fred Costello.
Good morning, Greg. Good morning,
and
listeners.
the Mayor of the Village of Sorgetes, as he likes to be called. Is it now Bill, or now has it become Willie?
No, it's
Murphy?
Bill. It's
No,
Bill.
It's Bill. Well, he said Willie before, so, and we have, I believe, Sorgetes Stallions owner, Kevin Hinchy. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
Doing great, Kev. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you for doing this. Kind of late notice, but again, thank you for joining us. And I know you've been very, very busy. Several months ago, starting to recruit for the 2022 season, and then this ring tour that you've been doing. Why don't you start off with that if you want? But the half hour is yours. If you don't want to start off with that, start off with something else.
No, I mean that's fine. It was. I think we're all blessed last year with the talent that came to Sorgetes and able to win that championship. So, those players and all the players that have played to us mean a lot to us. So. When we won it, I asked them if they wanted rings. It was pretty unique compared to other championship teams in the league to give all the players rings. So not only are we going to give them, but we use it as an opportunity to get out of this cold weather, go down to Florida or Georgia or where have you to meet the coaches rather than talk to them on the phone, hand the rings, get some pictures, and just show them how much we appreciate them.
That's great. That is, and I'm sure when you're doing that face-to-face and going to all these cities and presenting the rings and talking to the coaches, I'm sure very, very few do that, and that's got to be building good ties with those colleges, with those institutions, with the coaches, and also with the players, because obviously. The players, if they have an enjoyable experience, an enjoyable summer, and now in the middle of winter, although in parts of the South, of course, winter it's not like it is up here. That has to go a long, long way with those players talking to other players about their experiences and encouraging them to come to Sorgetes.
So there's a couple different factors that go into it. The first is talking to the coaches. And for instance, the head coach at Georgia Southern, he's been there for 23 years. He said he's never seen anybody even hand out rings as part of a summer league, right? And you think about the amount of summer leagues that are from Alaska through California through the Northeast. Through the Midwest, and there has to be 70 of them. So the competition aspect is another reason why I'm doing it. I kind of want to be different than everybody else. Show them how much we appreciate them. Show them that for the most part, these summer leagues and these franchise teams do it to generate money, right? Just to make money to offset that, and that's not what we're about. We're about development and caring and bringing to a small upstate community, and That's why we're doing it. So we give them each ring has their name, their number. On the inside of the ring, it shows the 2 games that we beat Amsterdam, the one at home and the one away, and they're in a beautiful oak box with a glass top, and we do a really nice presentation. And then these boys go into their dugout, because it's right before the game, and show all the players. And then when they get on the bus, if they're away, what we have here. So all those different little intricacies allow us to have a broader approach and get on the map and really get in front of them. So when they are handing out these players in August, that's how soon they do that for the following year, we're really on the top of their radar.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's perfect. And last year, that was, I don't know, every team kind of has its own identity. They've brought the Sargaties, and overwhelmingly, they've been really terrific young folks, and a pleasure to get to know a little bit. The last year's team, though, that team had heart. And I remember a close game where it didn't look good, but they just fought their way back and ended up winning that game. And at that moment, I was like, holy cow, we got something special going. And it wasn't really that big of a surprise that we finally won the championship.
Yeah, that was a special team, but I don't know if you could have scripted last year's season any better. I mean, from everything, from our head coach going down with COVID in Florida and having multiple surgeries and not able to get up here, to Rich Doobie stepping in, as the head coach and just taking this team right to the end, and it was unbelievable. I mean, walk-off wins and championships don't happen every day, and we had it at home, and it was pretty emotional and special for sure,
and crazy.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was.
Yeah,
it was, and you couldn't have put it any better. I don't know if you could have written. I don't know if anybody could have written a better script than what unfolded last year.
That was great.
And then that experience and going to Amsterdam for the second game, and the Sorgaties people that outnumbered the Amsterdam people, and how vocal they, in a good way, they were courteous, but they were vocal, they were loud. The flags that they had brought into the stadium in Amsterdam, and of course, I think with that walk-off win the night before, the one-run game, I think just Sorgaties had the momentum. I think Amsterdam was down, and they came right out of the box, and I can't even remember what the score was, but it wasn't close.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me in the morning, I talked to you, we had to get all the fan buses together and that type of stuff, and I was telling Renee, I'm like, because going to Amsterdam, I never have a good feeling about it, and listen, they've run a good program for 40 years, really.
Yes,
and,
they have.
We've been around for 5. So going up there, we were coming across the parking lot in the first inning, and an Amsterdam player hit a 2-run home run, and that's when I walked through the gate, and I was like, all right, here we go, and I was prepared for it, and I knew it was going to be a battle, and then, we came back in the top of the second inning and with 2 outs and loaded the bases, and Josh Stevenson, who plays for LSU, hit an absolute bomb of a grand slam. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to see Stevenson tomorrow at LSU in the morning. So this weekend's trip is one of my last trips, and my wife was like, "Listen, I'm done. You better grab somebody else. I'm not going on this trip." So I'm going to LSU tomorrow. I'm going to Utah on Friday. I'm going back down to Dallas on Saturday and Sunday to see the Wofford boys play Dallas Baptist. So, it just to see them and just to get together with not only with Wofford. Think about this, right? Wofford has about 7 players that we've had. We had 3 last year. We had 2 the year before. We had John Dempsey the year before that. and just to get to see all these boys and how they've matured, how they've developed, and who's going to go to the next level. It's going to be interesting to see that, and I want to talk to you guys about that in a little bit. But, this year's draft prospects, there's a lot of stallions that are in there, in that mix.
I was going to say that next because, that's one of the things, and you're right, Amsterdam has had a great program for many, many years. I've known Brian for, I don't know how many years, maybe 30 years. And, they're always touting, which, you should do with the number of players that have been drafted by the major leagues. And certainly with the team that you had last year, that was going to be my next thing I was going to ask you, is that I imagine there's several, if not quite a few, that are prospects to be drafted by the major leagues.
So, yes. The short answer is yes. And I just want to talk about the direction that this league has gone over the past 3 weeks. So we had an owners meeting because of the draft, right? You look and I talked to you about the different summer leagues that are across the country. I said we need to make ourselves a little unique compared to everybody else because there's too many options. So I looked at some of the different intricacies that Major League Baseball has done with their draft league that they established last year, and I said, let's follow this. So they're like, what are you talking about? I said, why don't we open ourselves up to allow seniors in college, if they played this year, and they're fifth-year seniors because they had the COVID year, let's open our doors up to get them. It's low-hanging fruit. They're good players. They have no other option but to go to the draft league. And if those rosters are full, we're here. So we did that. So this year we're going to be getting kids that are draft eligible that don't have a spot. And these could be past stallions that want one more look that are on the cusp, right? Because you have 20 draft rounds this year. That is cut in half from 40 that was there 2 years ago. But you can get drafted until the 31st of July. So we have now become a draft league in the past 3 weeks. So now everybody's scrambling to fill in roster spots with they're 22-year-old men, to come and play for them. So it's going to make us very unique. It's going to make it very fun. I wouldn't be surprised if we have to halt games mid-game, call people off the field because they get drafted during the game, which would be fun in itself.
But wouldn't that be fun and exciting if that indeed happens?
I would love it. Yeah, I would love it. Yeah.
That points to the challenge you have, though, because every year it's a brand new team. You're not going to have a significant population of return players. You got to start basically from scratch and try to build. And I guess the only comfort there is the whole league is in the same situation. But it's certainly you never really get to stand on your laurels for very long. And even the celebration of the championship, a lot of those kids were going back to school the very next day. We were celebrating with them, and they were
exactly. But that's the fun of it, Fred. Just having to rebuild, and building these relationships with these programs. So when they call, number one, they pick up the phone or they send you a text. They congratulate you or they talk to you about the next year's program right off the bat. So the communication with the coaches and with the athletic director, I love that. I like to talk to people. I like to build these type of things, and for some it's a nuisance. For me, I enjoy it. Now, I will say this, and I just want to go back a little bit. Last year, we had a similar situation with a draft eligible player. It was the game before our first home playoff game, and Aaron Cohen, who was a pitcher for us, was trying to get into a high-level school in Florida. So I received a phone call that morning, and I answered it in the thought of, all right, he's going to go to University of Tampa. So he got accepted. You know, he's going to be their number one starter. So I answered the phone, and he said, Mr. Hinchy. I said, hey, Aaron, what's up? He said, I just wanted to let you know, and I was ready for him that I got accepted. He goes, I just got drafted by the Oakland A's, and I need to fly out tonight after the game. It was so emotional. I was like, just took my breath away. So we were all on the Stable Club deck. After the game, he came up with his girlfriend, gave everybody hugs, and then they just, the field was completely empty and the lights were on, and they just walked hand in hand to a car, got in and went. And then this year he just sent me, I saw him in Florida, and he just sent me his official Oakland A's profile picture. It was amazing.
Wow.
That's cool.
And his father called me that morning, completely just distraught, just completely just so happy and crying. And he was like, if you did not give him this last opportunity, he wouldn't have been able to go.
Right. Yeah.
And it was like, okay, well,
that's a pretty special moment to share. Good for them. Kev, do you have a count of how many kids are playing in the big league farm system yet?
Well, for us, I think we have 4. We have 4.
Neat.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, for a young franchise, that's pretty nice.
I mean, we've only been here for 5 years,
Yep.
And I think this year I have a head count. It could be between 6 and 8 guys get drafted that played for us just this year.
Wow. And, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I want to just go back to, Fred mentioning the challenges each year with having a new team and having to build that team and have them all work together. And, that all comes back to great coaching. And you've just done a phenomenal job. That was, I'm sure, a shock with Colin's situation. Colin was great at it. But the coaches that you have brought in from the outside, that in itself, I think, is so critical with molding a team, bringing a team together to play as a team. And it obviously was very, very evident last year with Rich Doobie and the other coaches that you brought in. And Rich is returning this year, correct?
Yeah. So when Rich is returning, he said, and it was funny, right? I talked to him, and he's just what a wonderful person, and him and his wife they fell in love with Sorghum. So the conversation went like this. I said, Coach, it's getting that time of year. I know that we've talked about it briefly, but I'd really like you to return if you have an interest. He said, well, Kevin, I want to be quite honest with you. My wife's coming to Sorghum no matter what, and I guess I have to follow her.
How many times do you hear that story where people come to Sorghum for the very, very first time, they experience Sorghum, even if it's outside of the sports arena, which many, many times it is, and they just fall in love with Sorghum, and they have to come back. I ran into an individual in Florida that now lives in Philadelphia, that used to live up on the mountaintop, always loved Sorghum, always loved the Garlic Festival. Every single year, he comes back to Sorghum, spends some time on the mountaintop, then back down into Sorghum, and they usually spend a couple of weeks.
Perfect.
And they live in Philadelphia.
Not stealing any Kevin's time, but the Nightmares is putting together a tournament, and we have a team from Mexico City coming.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
For what?
For hockey.
Oh, for hockey?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I forgot to mention that. Yeah. There's just so much going on.
There's too much going on.
And that's what I missed the breakfast yesterday. I couldn't believe it. The KCR breakfast. Of course, dummy me, I didn't put it in my phone, so I didn't get these alarms, that went off. But it's all good stuff. And Kevin, obviously what you're doing is just awesome. I don't know if you want to take, what else you got, but we're getting down to less than 10 minutes. Do you want to talk about the team for this year and what you've got with?
Sure. I mean, I think I want to just So I'll let everybody know right now because nobody knows because I just put the deal together yesterday. But when we talk about coaching staff, since we went in this direction, I needed to bring in an addition of somebody who has minor league experience along with major league experience. So if the talent is on our field here, we're able to make a phone call and get scouts to come and watch them quickly and give them an opportunity. So yesterday, I inked a deal with Pat Borders, who was the 1991 or 92 MVP of the World Series. He spent 15 years with the Philadelphia Phillies up until last year, and then 10 years in the major leagues. So he is going to be our catcher and hitting coach and our conduit to some of the major league, minor league teams that will draft our players. So, again, we're trying to build the best coaching staff and surround ourselves with the best people to give our players the best opportunity to advance. So that nobody knows that, so now they know it. But that was done yesterday.
Fantastic. Good for you.
And then as far as the players are concerned, winning a championship really opens the doors to a lot of opportunities that didn't exist in the past. And, there's coaches that were calling me that wouldn't give me the time of day before.
I was just going to say that. I remember you the first couple of years and we talking, and you literally were just barging in coaches' offices saying, "Hey, my name's Kevin Henchy," and now after 5 years and the success you've built in the program, and and the whole atmosphere you created and Sorgis has created, and now they're calling you.
You're right, Bill. Yeah, no, I mean, it was not easy. We're trying to learn how this whole thing works, and you don't have a lot of time to figure it out if you want to be successful. So, no, I mean, yeah. So some of the new schools, again, nobody knows what's going on with the team, so I'll share some of the things with you. TCU, a really top program. They're ranked like number 11 or something, maybe even better now. They're sending us 3 of their players.
Wow.
So they're sending us an arm and 2 position guys. Both position guys have played this year for that program. I don't believe the arm has thrown. He was injured, but he's going to be ready, and they want to use this as a rehab for him. San Diego State. You ready for this? For the Yankee fans, it's a little funny because that's where Alex Rodriguez went to school, and it just so happens we have their starting second baseman, and his name is A-Rod also. So he's coming. So it's funny.
I almost feel bad for that kid, Kev. Those are big shoes to fill.
I know. Yeah, you're not kidding. But you think that's bad. How do you think Colin Martin's going to feel coming to Sorganies and having to follow Rich Doobie?
True.
That's what Doobie said to him at the wedding. He goes, Colin, you got big shoes to fill, buddy.
So Colin is going to be part of the coaching staff also?
Yeah, I haven't really mentioned everything. I tried to be pretty low key on social media right now, but yeah, Colin's coming back as the head coach. Doobie's going to be handling pitchers because that's what he was known for all his years in Major League Baseball. Borders is going to handle the hitters. Kelder will be back as first base coach. Adam Craig will be third base coach, and the thing we're doing this year, we're bringing in a strength and conditioning guy who will stretch the boys out at home and go on the road and make sure that they're hot and ready to go, just to try to keep all the injuries down, but also showing the coaches how much we're trying to protect their players.
Wow. Impressive.
Yeah, that's a unique responsibility to the summer leagues. These young folks all have obligations at their colleges who recruited them, and it's a pretty shiny car. You don't want to send it back dirty.
Great analogy, Fred.
Our goal is to send them back better than we got them. That's the goal.
That's the goal. Perfect.
Yeah.
Actually, when the season? We're only a couple of months out.
Yeah, June 1st, right? Or thereabouts?
June the 3rd. June the 3rd is our first game. June 1st is when the boys come to town. Yeah, no, it's right around the corner. So
2 days.
I mean, yeah, it's nonstop. I mean, right now is crunch time. Like I said, I'm going to go do this last flying tour, and then we're going to hand out some local rings, and then we got rings for everybody who was, in our booth, our trainer, so we'll do that handout. And then we start hanging signs and thanking sponsors and really get this thing rolling and get excited. And hopefully the warm weather comes upon us sooner than later. And, we can try to defend our championship.
Kev, before we let you go, I just wanted to point out, too, the mentorship programs you have with broadcasting and all the rest. Those programs are unbelievable as well.
Huge.
Yeah, we focused on the sporting part, but some of those young folks are going to be sports broadcasters somewhere for sure.
Some are already.
Dan Pasante's doing something big now, or Dan was a caster.
Yep, Dan got a good job. John Gross just got signed by ESPN Plus. He's like their main broadcaster.
Wow!
So to lose John was a big shot, but he's amazing, and he is going to be a big time broadcaster soon. So, but we are bringing more broadcasters from Penn State this year, and they're all excited, and those are another relationship that we've built that has just blossomed.
Yeah.
Kevin, unfortunately, we are out of time. That half hour flew by. Thank you very much for joining us, and we're going to be in Saugerties to do a remote show in June 29th. So put that on your calendar, June 29th, because you're definitely going to be one of our guests. And Fred Costello,
thank you.
Bill Murphy, thank you. Lawrence Maxwell, thank you. And most importantly of all, thank you, listeners and viewers. We'll be back here same time, same place next week.